Hello, my name is Martins. I welcome you to day 2 of our training on advanced Excel for business. Okay, we talked about a lot of things in our day 1, and we're going to be looking at some few revision based on that. Alright, so today we are going to be looking at the following area: overview of function. Next, what is if function? Number 2. Number 3, use the if function to analyze data and calculation. Next, we're going to be looking at and or function for logical tests, and we're going to be looking at the rest of other objective and outline in this section. Alright, again we're going to look at what is function. So we need to know what function is all about. Functions are predefined formulas and are already available in Excel. That means that the function, they are there already in your Excel. It's just for us to make use of them, use them to perform our calculation. Every formula starts with what? Equal sign, followed by what? The function name before the range or the argument you want to add inside your formula. So some example of functions I'm going to be looking at quickly. The very beginning part of it is we're going to look at the sum function, the average function. Also going to look at max, mean. Please note that max is maximum, mean is minimum. That means you want to find the maximum value of a given range of cells and the minimum value for a given set of cell or range. Alright, we're also going to be looking at some other function like count, count if, and if function. As we know, count and count if, they are statistic function, and if is a logical function, which is one of the most used functions in Excel, and we're going to be looking at that. Alright, also going to look at the and function, and again we'll be looking at the or function, and there are other functions we're going to be working with. Alright, so without wasting much time, let's jump into our Excel to see how we can work with this. Alright, now the first thing we're going to do is we have a worksheet here which is called the sum function, and in the sum function here we have that there's a item, price, quantity and total. Now the first thing we're going to do here is to see how we can find the total cost of order, and total price for price, and total cost for quantity. Okay, so here first thing we need to do is to create the sum function. To do that, so to create a sum function, we're going to say equal sign. Okay, equal sign, then we're going to say sum. Okay, so equal sign sum, then tab key to open your parenthesis. Then we now do what? Click and drag to select our range. Then you press what? Enter. Right now we have the sum of this price right here. Again, we are going to find the sum for quantity. Okay, so to do that, under quantity you can say equal sign sum, tab key to open bracket, then select your range and press what? Enter. So now we have the sum for the quantity. Again, let's say you want to find the average for price and quantity. You can as well come below this and find the average for price. So the average is equal sign, then we say what? Average. Okay, then we select the range. We want to find the average. In my own case, my range is from B6 to B10. Alright, B6 to B10, as you can see. If I press enter, then I have my average to be 6.072. Again, now without wasting much time, I want to use what we call autofill. And the autofill in this case is you pointing at the bottom edge of this cell, then click and drag to fill it automatically. So you see that now, I point at the bottom edge of this cell, then click and drag to extend it to the next cell. So basically, that is the formula and for sum and average. If you double click on this result, you see that there is the formula that had been generated for us. Again, if you double click on the average, you see that there's a formula that has been generated for us. And if you take a look at your formula bar up here, okay, you also see that there's a formula that has been generated for us. So up here in my formula bar, you see that there's a formula for that average. So in case you want to figure out a function or formula for average, you can be sure to type it exactly this way. It doesn't matter the column you're making use of. All you need to do is to put your own range. Okay. Alright, again, we're going to jump in and see another example of how we can perform some sort of sum and to find average. Alright, now look at this. In this case, we have an employee's payroll. We have their last name, their first name, their hourly wage, and so on. So here, we want to find the pay. So whereby the first person work, hourly wage is 15.99, hourly work is what, 41. So we want to find the pay for this particular person. So what's the formula? Now the formula is going to be equal sign. We say what? I now click on what? C3 multiplied by D3. Okay, C3 multiplied by D3. Then you press enter. Now that will show me the total or the pay for this particular person. Without wasting time to do it one after another, you can do what? Do your autofill by pointing at the bottom right edge of this cell, then double click to have the autofill. Okay. Alright, so let's assume down here we have total. We want to find the total for this. Okay, let's say we want to know how much do we spend to pay all these people. So we want to find the total. So the total will be what? You say what? Equal sign. Now say what? Sum. Open your bracket. Then go up here. Select your cell inside here. Alright, so now select my range. Then you can press what? Enter. You find the total. That means I spent up to $30,000 plus to pay my staff. Now for the average, how do we find the average for the pay? For example, let's say you want to find the average for the pay. The average for the pay still remain equal sign. You now say what? Average. Okay. Once you say average, you now select the cells you want to add there. Then do what? Press enter. Now you can see the formula there. First of all, I type equal sign average. Select my range by clicking and drag my range. Then press what? Enter. So that gives me what? The average for my pay. Okay. Alright, then the next thing is to see out the mean, that is the minimum value. That means who has the minimum pay or the lowest pay, because mean is used to find the lowest value in a range of cells. So in this case, I'll just come here and say equal sign mean. Okay, then I select my cells inside here. See that? Then I press enter. So here I will have what? My mean, which is what? 362.78. That is the minimum pay. That means the person that has the lowest pay on that payment. Then finally for max, you can do the same thing by saying equal sign max. Remember, max is maximum. That return the largest value in a set of values. So you type max, then you select the range by clicking and drag, and inside the range you want to find the max. It's like you saying Excel should enter E3 to E14 and let you see or bring out the maximum value. So when you are done, press enter. So for each time you click on the formula or the result, you look at your formula bar, you will see the formula that has created for you in case you want to use this to practice any other sample file. Now another thing I want to do here quickly also is I want to select these cells, then go to my cell styles, then give it calculation. That means those cells, those values, they are calculated value. There's a formula that generates them. It's not ordinary value. So I can make it what? Calculation. Just like I can come here and select these cells here, then go to my cell style and click, then choose what? Input. Okay, input. That means this is just ordinary input value. There is no calculation attached to getting those values. But this one down here that I format with what calculation, that means there's a formula that perform or generate those value. So basically that is how you can find your max, your mean, your sum. Okay, and we're going to look at more other function, but note that sum is mathematical function, average is statistic function, then mean is mathematical function, okay, and others. So but we're going to look at one of the most used function in Excel, which is what? The if function. Okay, now the if function is used to perform logical tests and comparison on value. In other words, if you go to formula tabs, under logical tab or under logical group, you will see what? If. Now if is used to compare value. If is used to say if something is true, do something, otherwise do something else. So it's used to perform some comparison of data and to produce a logical result. Okay, all right, so let me come up here and create something. Now I'll give us the first example about if. So if you click on this table, you see that we have a table called peer company sales, and we have the salesperson here. As you can see, we have their sales from week 1 to week 4. First of all, we have to find the total. So I will now find the total here by saying equal sign our normal sum, then select the cells from here down here. As you can see, B4 to what? E4, then press what? Enter. That has given me what? The total of this cells value. Then I will now point at the bottom edge here, then double click to give me autofill. So automatically, without wasting time, I just find a sum for every other salesperson. But the question is that, was goal made? Which goal are we talking about? They were given a goal to make sure that their sales, their total sales is greater than and equal to what? Monthly sale. So the monthly goal. So look up here, you will see monthly goal. That means as a salesperson, you have been given a task to make sure that your total sales is greater than or equal to what? The monthly goal. So we want to use Excel to compare. We want to use Excel to do a logical check, a logical test on this to see what it can return for us. Now we want a situation whereby Excel should check if the total sales is greater than or equal to what? Monthly goal. It should return yes. That means the goal was made. If not, it will return no. That means the goal wasn't made. So assuming that we have a large number of people here, if function will allow us to know those people that made the target. Okay, so this is how you can achieve that by saying equal sign, then if, tab key to open bracket. Now you say what? If this cell, which is F4, is greater than or equal to what? G1. Now look at the formula there. F4 greater than or equal to G1. Now for Excel to make that G1 constant, for it to make it absolute cell reference so that it will always point to that cell, we press F4 on our keyboard to make it what? Absolute cell reference. Absolute cell reference always remain the same no matter where you're copying to. I'd like you to know that we have 3 types of cell reference in Excel. Number 1 is what? We have relative cell reference, we have an absolute cell reference, we have mixed cell reference. But for me to press F4 after typing G1 to lock that cell or to anchor, it means that I'm making that cell G1 to be what? Absolute cell reference, so that no matter where I copy to, it will not change. Alright, so I'll put comma here, open my double quote and put yes. That means if F4 is greater than or equal to what? G2, then tell me that yes, to show that a goal was made. If not, tell me what? No, to show that the goal was not made. It means that the person did not make his or herself greater than or equal to what? The monthly goal, which is $34,000. So you see the formula there. All you need to do is to press what? Enter. So now we have yes. So it showed that Mr. Jobs' total sales was $36,000 and the monthly goal here is 34. That means his sales is greater than and equal to what? 34. So yes, the goal was made for that particular person. So autofill by pointing at the bottom edge here and double click to see the rest. So let's say that this person that has no, which is 33,990, that means the goal was not met because it couldn't make its total set to be greater than or equal to what the monthly goal. So no, the goal was not met for that person. That means it didn't meet up its what monthly goal of making sure that your total set is greater than or equal to what 34, which is our monthly goal. So that is another way we can use the if function to check this. Remember, if function is used to check if a condition is met. Return one value if it's true, another value is false. It also can be used to do what logically compare what data or information or value in yourself. So looking at the value here, the formula, you see that it's very easy for us to achieve a lot of things right here. Alright, the next example I want us to notice here about the if is that here we found out that we have this table for if function. Then we said the question here is revenue greater than 15,000, then good. That means if, look at my column here, we have revenue. If the revenue is greater than 15,000, Excel will show good. That means we make good sale, we make good revenue from that point. Okay, so we now come here and say equal sign if sorry, let me get all this. Okay, just undo this, normal. Okay, so here is what we want to do. We want to come and say equal sign if this revenue, which is in C5, is greater than 15,000. Okay, I click on that 15,000, which is our condition. Then I now press F4 to anchor that. That means no matter where I drop it to, no matter where I copy it to, Excel should always focus on that particular cell. It doesn't change. It won't change. It shouldn't change. Comma. Then we say what? Good. Comma. Else what? 0. Okay. Else 0. Alright. Now, I mean, that formula is saying that if revenue is greater than 15,000, it will show good. If it's not, it will show what? 0. So by pressing enter, it will show me 0. Let's do autofill at the bottom edge, point and click and double click. So anywhere you see good right now, it shows that my revenue is greater than what? 15,000. Okay, look at like the last one here, 20,400. That means our revenue is greater than 15,000. That is why it's showing good. Look at this other one, 30,400 is showing good. That means that revenue is greater than what? 15,000. So it will show us what? Good at this point. Okay, so going forward in the next series, we're going to illustrate more example for the if function. Alright, finally, let's say I have the next worksheet here, which I'm going to use to illustrate our if function. Okay, so here we have student result sheet. Okay, student result sheet. If you look at it here, this is another part you can apply your if function. So we have average pass mark greater than 50. That means a student is to score average of above 50 before you can have pass mark. So here, first of all, we have to come back and find the average for the student. Okay, we have to find the average for the student by coming here first of all to find average. I've already shown us the formula on how to find average. So we come here and say equal sign average. Okay, average of what? Quickly, I'll just say average of this value, average of this score. Then I press enter. So now 55. Then I'll do what? Autofill. Okay, so having generated or finding the average, which if I double click here, you see the formula there that say equal sign average of D5 to D5. So I press what? Enter. Alright, so you see that once you click on it, you see that the formula is there on your formula bar. Okay, so now a student is to score 50 above as or under average in order to have pass. So that means we are using the average column to determine our grade. So this has to be, we're going to say equal sign if, okay, if this cell is greater than what? 50, comma, then what we want to see is what? Pass, or what we want to see is what? Fair. Alright, so we type fair, then close this and close. Now look at the formula there. So we want Excel to check if the score under average greater than 50 should return pass. If not, it should return fail. Remember I said if something is true, do something, otherwise do something else. If the average is greater than 50, return pass. If not, return fail. So pressing enter to show us pass because the average there is greater than 50. So autofill point and double click to see the remaining part of the score. Alright, so that is basically how you can use what your if function to perform a lot of tasks. Okay, so I'm sure we've learned something under the if function and how you can use the if function. So it's one of the most used function. You can use to analyze data, you can use to do what compare data, and we're going to see more of the if function in our next section.